Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Reminder that the show is designed to build the D.C. Metro's market by giving you good free advice. If you ever have any questions, concerns regarding getting a mortgage, trying to get your credit squared away, fighting with the banks over loan modifications and looking for an alternative if that doesn't go through, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you out, give you good free advice. And if there's something that I can't handle, I'd be glad to point you in the direction for somebody that I do trust that can answer your question and get you the result that you need. The best number to reach us is the off-air phone number, which is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030, or visit us via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. So I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago, Louis, we were discussing the Mortgage Forgiveness Act, and I've been bombarded with emails and calls and people trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going to happen with this? I know you said what potentially could happen, and I still don't have a clear-cut answer. For those of you that are listening for the first time, the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act of 2007 is set to expire at the end of this year. That act, which basically what it does is it allows taxpayers to be excluded from paying taxes on forgiven debt in certain situations. Their website explains it as the Mortgage Debt Relief Act of 2007 generally allows taxpayers to exclude income from the discharge of debt on their principal residence. Debt reduced through mortgage restructuring as well as mortgage debt forgiven in connection with a foreclosure qualifies for the relief. And it also qualifies or applies in a short sale situation. So the big question that everybody has is, okay, well, is Congress going to extend this past the December 31st deadline? And to be honest, this is, I think, probably another one of those negotiating items that's probably going to go back and forth between Congress and the president.
Will they, Ryan, will they actually even focus on this? You know, you have the estate tax, you have the mortgage interest deduction, you have alternative minimum tax. There's so much detail. They're going to focus on this one as being a sticking point. I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, I know there's been a lot of lobbying on this issue. I know that, National Association of Realtors and everybody else, there's been 41 state attorneys general that signed a letter urging congressional leaders to extend this act.
Right, but do you hear about it in the
No,
in the
you're not getting
debate?
No, you're not getting much push out of that. I do know that in Obama's, in his budget that he submitted, he did have this in there as being extended through, I want to say it was 2015 or something like that. So it seems like he's on board with doing it. But once again, if it gets into a situation where they're basically going back and forth, one side gets one thing, the other side gets something else, this could be on the chopping block. I'm not saying it is. I would think that it would be extended.
But Ryan, won't it just crush the housing market in short sales? Why would you sell if basically you're already underwater, and then they're going to say you made money when you short sold the house because you sold it for $50,000 less, that now you're not going to have to pay it, and somehow you made $50,000 and that's income and it's taxable.
Yeah, I absolutely think that this is going to be extended. Okay, I do, because if not, the bankruptcy courts will be flooded. Okay,
it's not. If you think about it, you're not really making any money.
No, you're not making any
money, and you're just not paying the money that you lost.
Absolutely,
you're just being forgiven the debt that you're now not paying.
Right, and all the progress that we've made over the last couple of years of basically short sales becoming more of the market norm will be lost, and we'd be right back to going into the situation where banks are foreclosing and losing money. Why would we want to do that?
Or they won't be foreclosing, and there won't be short sales, and there won't be foreclosures, and these homes won't clear the market.
Yeah, the banks will hold them and rent them out. I mean, there's a lot of...
Now, that's another problem. That nothing will happen with them.
Yeah, they'll just sit there. I think that, the other part to most listeners' question was, okay, well, if I'm in the midst of a short sale right now, when does my house, does it have to be under contract? And it actually has to be sold by the end of this year.
By year end.
Right. So if you're currently in the midst of a short sale, and I have probably 10 different clients right now that are in the same situation, the bank holds all the cards in this. Typically, once you get around the holidays, not much is getting done anyway. I mean, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they basically have basically stemmed off foreclosures until after the first of the year. So I don't really see that there's going to be some big push for anybody that's got a short sale into the bank right now for them to be cleared out by the end of this year. So this is going to be a big thing to pay attention going into next year. Like you said,
what people
Lewis,
can do, Ryan, they can sell their stocks right now if they think that capital gains are going to go up. That's something that can be done very, very quickly if there's going to be higher capital gains next year. But getting a household is not the same as getting a Schwab account.
not to mention selling a house where you have to get third-party approval, bank approval, which you know what I mean? Like that's a crapshoot. Nobody knows when you're going to hear back from them. So it's very frustrating. I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on with this. So I promise you, as soon as I hear anything, if the media or the Mortgage Bankers Association, NAR, if they're giving any sort of news, I'll be glad to pass it out there. But for right now, you just got to kind of, hold tight. I would imagine, like Lewis said.
Hold on, did you say, that in the Obama proposal, that's included?
Yeah, in his proposed budget. Yeah, in his proposed budget for 2013, he had that included in there as something that was going to be continued.
And is that part and parcel of his whole offer on the debt ceiling, or is that just his budget for 2000?
That was just his budget. His budget. Yeah. So I mean, what
part of this negotiation on the fiscal cliff?
No, I'm just saying it was just part of his budget. So I was merely insinuating that I think that he's on board with. Yeah, he's in favor of it, and I would feel like the Republicans would be in favor of this as well, just because it would absolutely crush the real estate market. Yeah,
it's a tax cut.
Yeah. So I mean,
extension of a tax cut.
I would just I'm urging everybody, kind of, if you're in the midst of a short sale and all of a sudden you're worried that you could have this tax liability, there's not much you can do at this point. I mean, you can, all of a sudden
you can pull out.
You could pull out, but a lot of people are behind on their mortgage payments. You know what I mean? Because many banks won't even start negotiating the sale until you've missed payments. You'd have to catch back up on payments.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a good situation, and I know that it's, this is more market uncertainty as if we need any more of it. But I would. My hope is, and I really feel, I feel probably about 80% confident that this is going to get extended at some point. Now, I don't know.
This wasn't part of the Bush tax cut. This came out in 2007.
Yep, this came out in 2007. Yep. So this is a separate issue. There's two current bills in Congress. It's Resolution 4336 and Resolution 4202, and then the Senate Bill 2250. So I've been paying attention to these, and I'll make sure that you guys know as soon as I get any sort of update either way.
And, there's no reason for this one not to be extended, because you can't even argue that it would help reduce the deficit, because these are people, if they can't pay their mortgage, they're not going to be able to pay their income tax.
Right.
Supposed gain that they had from having their debt forgiven.
Yeah, you can't get blood from a turnip, right? So
right.
It's at this point, I would say that it's got to go through. It's just got to be. It's the formality of it going through. This would be like such a misstep if it didn't go through, because with the Fed, with artificial manipulation of interest rates and trying to get people, into home ownership, but then all of a sudden, more people would have to get foreclosed on. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't even think you can make the moral hazard argument that somehow they're getting away with something. They're not. They're going to sell their home at a loss.
Yep.
And they didn't really make any income that they're getting away with not paying taxes on.
Yeah. And, many of these, it's definitely still hindering a person's credit. You know what I mean? It's like
they're not winning by this.
Right. It's not like this is a win for the consumer and a loss for the bank. It's a lose-lose situation still. The bank's losing money.
And it's a loss for the government, because they'll never collect that money.
They'll never collect that money. The homeowner is still going to have to try to get back on track with their credit. Now, granted, there's some situations that we've discussed that if you have an extreme hardship, loss of a job, death of a family member, divorce, many other, or you have another kid come into the world. There's a lot of other hardships that can qualify where you can potentially do a short sale and not have missed any payments. So it's really not going to ding you on your credit report because it's not showing up as a late payment. It's going to show short sale on there. So you have to have some serious extenuating circumstances to be able to buy another home right away. But you're still 2 or 3 years out from being able to buy again. So it's not just like somebody's getting their hands wiped clean and tomorrow they buy a brand new house. There are some situations, like if like I said, if it was a military relocation or something like that, that they ended up having a short sale, they could potentially buy as long as it's, outside, 50 miles outside the city they live in. There's always, extenuating circumstances, but those are on case-by-case basis. And, the media loves to highlight those great ones that happen once in a blue moon, where somebody gets to take advantage of a loan modification at 1%. I mean, how many people would kill for a loan modification at 1%, Lewis? You know what I mean? But the reality is it's just not happening. So, just hang in there, guys. I'll keep you up to date on all the information. We're coming up on the end of the show. But, Lewis, tell
Ryan, let me ask you, when is all this
Sure.
going to get settled? This issue and the fiscal cliff, how many more days do we have?
Not many, and we know that they'll be taking a Christmas break here soon. So I think it's going to get pushed into next year again. I don't see it happening. I mean, they're too far apart. I mean, I'd like to see it get settled before the end of this year, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. So I don't know. But let our listeners know if they are, starting their home search, if they're able and willing to take advantage of these interest rates, where they can go to search anonymously for real estate agents to work with in their area.
HomeGain.com. It's all self-explanatory on the website. You can find and compare realtors anonymously. You can search homes for sale. You can get a home valuation. You can also listen to all of Ryan's shows archived on the HomeGain YouTube channel as well.
Great. Thanks, Lewis. Guys,
thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in. Be back again next Monday from 9 to 10. Have a great week.